Hello, 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 and welcome to your Aunties Could Never, episode 106. I'm Aunty AK, and I'm here with
Aunty Farrah,
Aunty Nana,
and we don't have Aunty Sade. She's unavailable this evening, but she'll be back with us next week, we hope. Okay, so this is your Aunties Could Never, a podcast for cool aunties and uncles everywhere, where you hear no nonsense, straight talkings, and the best advice you'll ever hear anywhere.
Ever.
How are you? Ever. How are you, my ladies and my aunties? How are you doing today?
I'm all good today. All good. I want the sunshine out and happy and smiling, and it's not been like that today, but it's all good.
Yeah, I didn't like the idea of feeling cold. My toes were cold a little bit coming home, and I'm very upset about that. I don't like cold toes. Cold toes make my whole body shake.
I know what you mean about cold toes, though, but it's just funny. Like, it's usually my hands that get really cold.
Yes.
Like so cold, I feel like they're gonna break. Have you ever been
Yes.
that cold?
Yeah.
It's going to snap off.
But that's
Usually
similar.
happens to me.
Yeah, that's how I feel about my my toes. When my toes are froze, everything's off. Just want to let you guys understand this. When my toes are froze, my whole day is discombobulated.
No, I hear you. I get exactly what you're saying. My favourite thing, and it's probably really bad for Russell though, is I put my feet on his back to warm them up. Can you imagine? That must be so. That's how you know he must love me. I have to do that almost every night. I have to, and it warms up.
Hold on. Wait, your legs are like this on his back.
Yeah.
Like you curled up like in a ball with your feet on his back.
Yeah. Just and then when it heats up, and then I can stretch out again and get to sleep.
No, he absolutely loves you.
He's gotta love you because you can't. I'm not into feet. I don't want your feet. I don't want your feet near me, and I hate people.
And I don't even think he likes my feet on him either. But what are you gonna do?
Farrah always cusses me when we've slept in the same bed. Aunty Farrah cusses me for running my feet, but
yeah,
I need to run. I need to run when I'm sleeping.
I don't like it. I don't want to hear.
You gotta run.
Like to get my feet in comfortable, I have to kind of like run my feet.
What the shit is that?
It's basically rubbing them together, but sometimes like I think it's like like when you have not a tick. Obviously, I don't have a tick, but like your body just does something in repeat because it's like you're not even thinking that you're doing it. So sometimes it's like you're running, but you're not really running. I'm just trying to rub my feet together to keep them warm. I curl my toes together.
Okay. I get what you're saying.
That dry foot sound.
Just get yourself a man. Get yourself a man. Get yourself a man and put your feet on his back.
I just don't like feet. No, and I can't put socks on. Wear socks.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like you need that kind of heat because do you know what my daughter does? She'll stand on wherever I am, she'll come and stand on my feet. She likes to stand on my feet. Anyway, Aunty Farrah, yeah. What we doing? How you all gonna warm us up? Sorry.
I have so many questions, but okay.
I'm looking at like, why are you? Because I just love your feet. They're so comfortable. She likes to stand on my feet when she's talking to me.
Wow.
Anyway, go on.
Okay. Anyway, would you rather? That's what's up. Would you rather be half your height or double your weight?
Fuck that shit. It's half my height.
That's so much. There's so much wrong with what we've just done. I know
it's really bad. But that's my truth, and I'm sticking with it. I'll take half my height. Oh, would I? That? Oh no, hang on, because that would mean that I'd be like, oh,
exactly.
Oh, I didn't think about it properly. No,
exactly.
Sorry. Double my weight. Sorry.
I'd take double my weight too. There's nothing wrong with short people or people who are shorter, but I can always lose the weight. I can't gain inches. And I don't want to be everywhere and I can't reach things. And, it's a problem when people are inconsiderate when you go to the cinema or just anywhere and you can't see. And in a shop, you can't reach. It's just, I don't want to have to deal with inconsiderate people all the time. Whereas if I'm double my weight, I can hopefully lose that.
I'll go double my weight because we can make it look sexy. So
yes, that's true.
Because half my size, though I'm extremely tall, I'd be very ill. Because I'm 5'4", so I'd be 2.
I don't know if you are 5'4". You keep saying you're 5'4".
I feel like you lot should leave me the fuck alone.
What, do you think she's smaller or taller?
I think she's smaller because I'm 5'5", and you seem a lot.
You're miles ahead of me, girl.
All right.
I would have thought you two were the same height, though.
No, I'm not.
Don't.
I'm not saying you're very, very short.
No, I am.
I'm not saying you're very, very short, but I don't think you're 5'4".
I am 5'4".
Okay.
All right. Next link up, I'll bring my measuring tape and we'll measure, and then we'll know exactly what.
Yeah, we know once and for all. I'll go on.
Yes, I am. Go on, next one.
Okay, next one. Would you rather be the only person who speaks out of their bum, or be the only person who doesn't speak out of their bum?
What? As in, like, your vocal cords are in your bum?
Yeah, you speak out of your bum.
Or you mean talking shit?
No, I mean you speak out of your bum.
Literally,
So
that is where the voice comes from, your bum.
Your bum.
So, in other words, in the world is either everyone talks through their bum and you don't, or the world is everyone talks through their mouth and you're the only one that talks through your bum.
No, would you rather be the only person who speaks out of their bum, or the only person who doesn't speak out of their bum?
That's exactly what I said.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. It sounded like you remixed it.
I don't
I just put it the other way around. But Auntie Nana, like I said, either the world talks out their bum and you don't, or the world talks out their mouth and you don't talk out your bum. So you're just the only one either talking out your mouth or the only one talking out your bum. Which would you prefer? So the world would think you're abnormal either way. So to me, honestly, I'm going to forfeit because that doesn't really fucking matter because I'll be the oddity in whichever world I existed.
But would you rather speak out of your bum?
But the thing is, obviously, because of the way that society's set up, why would I want to say, do you know what, I'd rather speak out of my bum? Because the way I know society, why would I want to speak out of the whole so do I put out my mouth instead of talk out my bum, or do I put out my bum and talk out my bum?
It just says to speak out of your bum. It doesn't say where you poo or anything like that. It just says speak out of your bum.
It's a ridiculous scenario, but because I know what bum holes do, obviously I'm going to be the person that speaks out their mouth because I can't physically opt to choose to speak out my bum and what I know about bums.
Yeah, I mean, this is a mindful because it's that thing. Then the vocal cords have to then go in alignment with waist, and that doesn't make any sense. So
the question doesn't make sense.
I think I'm still gonna
go. It doesn't make sense.
Why is that way? I don't mind speaking out my bum if then it's like you were rewired in a different way, and so out of my mouth comes shit. And through my bum is my vocal cords. I don't care about that. If I'm rewired that way, then I'm fine to do that. But I'm not gonna chat shit, like literally chat and come. Like that is bonkers. So I think I'm just gonna stick with my mouth ways. And
have everybody look at me like I'm weird, but I'd be like, you are all bent over talking to me. What the hell's going on here?
Maybe they're not bent over.
No, I'm not gonna bend over. It's just that their sound comes from their bum. So everyone's off when it goes off, you're gonna hear. Maybe wait the other way to pick up the sound from your bum, from people's bums. So our ears would face the other way. Maybe our ears would be on our hips because it would all correlate. Like
it just says.
Can we move on, please? I don't need this in my life right now. Because now I'm just thinking of some awful, weird bodies. And to be fair, when the aliens come, there probably is a land where they have this set up.
I think I'd speak out of my bum.
Okay.
Just because. Why not?
You'd be the only one. You'd be in a box.
That's fine.
Okay.
It's all right. Okay, last question. Would you rather live in a barn full of animals as your house, or in your house with all the animals from the barn?
You're bored today.
Where did you find these?
We're gonna ban this game.
Yeah.
No, you have to pick one.
I think I prefer one thing that has to go games.
Why would I live in a barn when I can live in my house with animals? I might as well live in a house of animals. The animals,
animals that are usually in the barn that are in your house.
Yeah, but then obviously I have to accommodate them.
In your house that you have, your house.
Yeah, because I'm not going to live in a barn. I've got no bath. I'm going to have troughs and hay. So at least let me figure it out with my own. So at least I can shut the door. They can all be in my front room and I'll be in my room. And I'll come out when I need to. There will be a shit show in my house, but at least I've got one room of sanctity. In a barn, I have nowhere. I'm really politically upset about this.
I mean, it could be a nice big barn. You know those fancy new barns, those swanky ones.
What fancy new barns?
People get married in those barns.
You know, the barns you can get married in.
Hold on. You always cuss me for remixing. You said
I said a barn
where the animals live.
Yeah, the animals live in a barn.
Cleared out for a wedding.
It's a nice barn.
The outside of it is still not a nice barn because literally it's a barn. There's no shower, no bedroom,
toilet facilities and everything.
You've got a bucket and hay, and that's it, and a trough to eat.
All barns are like that.
You show me. Call a farmer. Let's get a farmer on. Call the black farmer.
Farmers will have toilets in their barns.
Let me get the black farmer on this show. We'll talk to him about the barns. I
would rather live in the barn because I don't want to have barn animals in my house.
But you wouldn't know any better because you wouldn't have a house.
I would.
You are a foolish individual. Right. This I can't even.
We've got one comment come through from Red Border who says, does that mean that you would fart out of your mouth and burp out of your ass?
We don't know, Red Border, because Aunty Farrah has pulled ridiculousness out of her hat today. We don't know.
I think he's correct.
Oh, I can't see the questions, the messages. At least I can. Read on Victoria's comment.
Okay, so Victoria says, when you tune in halfway and wonder why the question is being asked, so are we, and we were listening to the whole thing. People have no hands play the piano with their feet. It is odd to those with hands, but not to those without. And that's true.
And that's why I said I would speak out of my bum.
You'd still be the only person speaking out the bum without a deficiency or disability. It's not that you're disabled, it's just that you're talking out your bum.
That's where my vocal cords are, like Aunty Nana said.
Interesting. Amazing.
Okay, my turn to welcome to who I'm welcoming to the family is a young lady called NUNU Obey. Obey. I hope she says it like that. Obey. She's Nigerian. I know the correct pronunciation. Anyway, NUNU has been an influencer public figure for a little while, since the early days of Backchat, which is, how old is Backchat now? Like
10 years.
10 years? No, not 10 years, no.
No, it's not that old, but it's a good few years.
On season, I don't know what season it's on. However, NUNU was on one of the early seasons, very, very, very early seasons of Backchat when it first kind of broke and took the internet by storm and launched the careers of quite a few, including Esther and currently Lani Good and things like that. But what I always loved about NUNU was that she didn't care what she said. Her mouth ran anyhow, and she went toe-to-toe with lots of guys and also the girls, especially Esther back in the day. And she just held her own and she spoke truthfully about things. I remember there was one kind of controversy that she got a lot of backlash, and a lot of guys spoke to her and the girls spoke to her like she was dirt because she talked about having sex on periods. And she said it a bit dramatically, but just to give you context, she was just unafraid to broach subjects that people found taboo. And then more recently now, she was in an episode of, I think, was it Backchat, when they were on a retreat, and she had a confrontation with Marc Cuban, the guy who's currently accused of physically and verbally and mentally abusing a group of women in the industry and beyond. She went head toe-to-toe with him in one of the episodes, and no one came to her aid. And this has kind of been the legacy of NUNU. Like, people, for some reason, don't necessarily like her very much, and she's been challenged a lot, but she's held her own. She's a beautiful young lady. She holds her own. She's got her own like kind of hair brand business, and she's just been able to stand her ground where many would have crumbled. And I'm sure it has hurt her over the years, the way she's been challenged, but she's just been unapologetic. And I think she's a bit of an icon. I think she's a bit of a young icon. So I really want to welcome, she's definitely a niece, NUNU. And I got your back, NUNU. I've had your back from day one. And I rate you for actually, in this current time, standing up against Marc Cuban. And she released a statement the other day, kind of talking on the points where she was left out in the wind by her fellow TV mates enjoying that episode. But I just think she's a bad girl. So yeah, that's it. That's my NUNU.
Welcome to the family.
Welcome. So okay, now you're listening to the show. Please don't forget, as you listen to Aunties Could Never on the podcast side of things, add your reviews, add your comments and your likes and your subscribes and everything, because we just like to be loved and we want us to go high up in the ratings so we can become rich aunties and give you even more rich, warm and fulfilling advice. We want comments like this that we had on YouTube from Misha F. She says, love you guys. Your episodes are the highlight of my week. And I believe our episodes are the highlight of many of yours weeks. And we want you to comment that and feed that back. I don't believe there's anyone that doesn't like what we do. So what I need is for everyone who listens and everyone who watches to leave positive reviews and comments. That's all. My ego needs to be boosted. I want to have big ego.
All of our egos, please. Like, leave messages. And we respond to comments on YouTube as well. We're interacting with you guys, so communicate with us. Let us know what you think as the show is going on as well.
That's it. So, Charlie, just make us comments, please. Anyway, moving on. It's time for What Have You Heard, where we talk about what's in the news this week and beyond, and we get into it. So we got a few things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Harry and Meghan. We're going to talk about COVID in China. And my story is, we all have heard about the crazy, I think is a crazy deal, that the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, has agreed with her fellow homie, Boris Johnson, has agreed to send asylum seekers, illegal ones, by the way, who maybe made it over to England on a boat illegally and haven't gone through the proper channels. They will, instead of, straight deportation back to where they came from, they have the option now to go to Rwanda. Yes, Rwanda.
Not an option.
No, I think they can either get sent back home or go to Rwanda. I thought they had the choice. Deported back home.
Okay, I guess. Yeah, if you don't want to go through the process.
I don't know if it's an option. I've not read anywhere that says it's an option. It says that within the next 6 weeks, that's what they'll be doing. And once they get there, talk anyway. We're going to fresh it out.
Okay. Anyway, where it says the pilot scheme would initially focus mainly on single men, arriving on boats or lorries, and would see them given a one-way ticket for the 4,000-mile trip to Rwanda, where they will be processed and, if successful, would have long-term accommodation in the African country. Priti Patel says a vast majority of those arriving in the UK illegally would be considered for relocation to Rwanda. The scheme is one of a number of measures announced to tackle small boat crossings in the Channel. Now, the thing that got me, because obviously this sounds insane to me, this whole thing, and apparently it will cost 30 bags or whatever, 30,000 or whatever per person being sent, which again is wild because apparently we've got money when we don't have money. Who go figure? But what stood out for me was that more than 160 charities and campaign groups from the UK network of non-governmental organizations have called the government to scrap the plans in an open letter that described the scheme as shamefully cruel. And someone said, Enver Solomon, chief executive of the Refugee Council, said the charity was appalled by the government's cruel and nasty decision that would do little to deter people from coming to the country. So though I find this a really mad thing, and it's a weird solution, I was really thought how are charities coming to talk about negatively about a country? Because saying it just seemed like a weird juxtaposition. You're a charity that's supposed to be peace, love, and helping other countries rebuild. You're there calling this scheme cruel and inhumane and a nasty decision. And part of me thought, is it like, are you saying that being sent to Africa is a nasty decision? Because they're not going to be sent to Africa to live in poverty. They're actually going to be sent and set up in Africa. So you're slightly saying that Africa's a worse place to go.
Let's talk about the country, because we're always saying Africa like the continent.
Rwanda, but it's in Africa.
Talking about Rwanda. So let's separate continent and country first.
Well, no, I don't want to, because I also, though it's Rwanda, it's still the thing of being sent to Africa. That's my thing. That's my thing. So I wanted to ask, what are you lot's thoughts? Because when something triggered me when it's like a charity talking negative like that.
I don't think the charity alone. I think everyone with half a brain has looked at this scheme and said that it's appalling. It's appalling. I don't, and I'd be surprised if the charity didn't say that it's appalling, because I don't think the focus is on where they're going. I think it's the fact that England are trying to basically offshore their immigration problem. That's what they're doing. They're sending these people offshore. It's, as you said, it's costing £30,000 to send them, and you're saying set them up. But how are they going to make sure that that's done? They're giving the Rwandan government a certain amount of money. I think it was in the region of 120 million or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But they're giving them a lot of money to do this. They've signed a deal with them. And part of that includes a one-way flight and accommodation once they get there. And there's supposed to be schemes that help them do training and learn and have work opportunities. How are they going to know that this is actually done? And the reason why Priti Patel was saying that this is being done is because she wants to stop people smuggling. But how does she know what's going to happen once these people get to the other side? And what's going to stop people still being smuggled? It's not actually going to stop anything. It's going to continue. And the other thing is, like, a lot of people that cross the channel in these boats, she's saying it's going to be only the single men that are sent to Rwanda. A lot of people come here with papers that aren't real. So how do you know that they're single men? They might be men that have come here before, their wives and children, in order to try and set something up for their wives and children. So they're not actually single men. How do you distinguish who's a single man and who's not a single man? Might be a man who has children, as I've just said, or it might be a man whose family are on the next boat. We don't know. So I just think that there's so many flaws in it. Even the Archbishop of Canterbury, in his speech on the weekend, his Easter speech, he said that this policy does not stand the judgment of God, because it doesn't. To me, it's just, and let's not think, this is the other thing, let's not think that Britain are not going to get anything out of this scheme. They are. So when they set, in inverted commas, these people up in Rwanda, what do you think Rwandan government can give them back? It's going to have, they're not doing it for free. Where are they getting this money? It's taxpayers' money that they're using to do this as well. Where's that coming from? So at what rate do our taxes go up to accommodate this new scheme? This is the first time that this has been done in the world, apparently, in Europe, sorry, not the world, because I think there were certain people in Denmark that were praising this, certain politicians in Denmark that were praising this scheme and saying that they've looked into doing it as well. But I just don't think that it's going to actually solve anything. It's just going to create more problems. And I just find it inhumane. These people are coming here for a better life. If they wanted to go to Rwanda, they would have gone to Rwanda. They're not going to Rwanda. And I don't think it's the whole sending them, to me anyway, it's not sending them off to Africa. That is the issue. It just so happens that Rwanda, because Britain tried to get this done in Albania. The Albanians didn't want to go ahead with it. They tried to get it done in Ghana. The Ghanaians didn't want to go ahead with it. It's the Rwandan government that's gone ahead with it. So it just reeks of, I don't know, it doesn't sit well with me at all, this whole thing. And I just think that there's going to be more problems with it than there are any benefits. And it is, they're putting a plaster on an issue that is bigger than, £30,000. I'm not making much sense, but I just think that it just doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with me.
You're making sense. I have a lot of questions in regards to this, but overall, looking through it, listening to Priti, you can tell that she's lying. This has absolutely nothing to do with people smuggling, because it doesn't make sense. The two things don't seem to equate, where you have people smuggling, and if you just reroute people who would have got here and come inside and then may have had to pay a connection man or whatever, if you just reroute them to Rwanda, if you create a society there, obviously it's just like creating a new land. Like the same thing is just going to happen in Rwanda. So I'm seeing lots of parallels with the forming of Australia. And it just feels like, so you're trying to, and for the Rwandan government that has been put in place now is also very Western, kind of heavily influenced and backed, and receiving a lot of money from the West. So it is like you've had this genocide. I'm not, to me, it's like, so you've had this genocide that's taken place where you killed flipping millions, and you have that dissent, and then you have this new type of Western backing to this new government, and you're doing deals to help them with their problems and to create a new society there. So if your asylum is seeked and it all goes through and it's fine, you now become a Rwandan citizen. But you didn't want to be a Rwandan citizen, just in the same way with the first lot that went to Australia. You were sent there because you were prisoners, and then you had to create this land. It's like, what are they trying to do to set up camp in Africa and to have a different type of base going on there? It just feels like a new wave of colonialism. They're doing it in a different type of way. They're getting around it in a different way. And you have, again, and we've always said this about Priti, you have this brown face to allow it to take place, where you can't, well, lots of people aren't openly saying it's racist if it wasn't because you have this brown woman doing it. But it stinks to high heaven of a bag of fuckery, and we don't know how this is going to end up. And for all of those people that are just trying to seek to better their lives are being pawns in a chess game, and we don't know what's going to happen to them when they're in Rwanda, how they're going to fit in, the resettling process when a new set of people come into a land, how they're treated. I have a lot of questions about this.
Same. I similarly have a lot of questions, and I do think there's racism afoot in, especially in the reaction to it, because I think if it was to a Western country, there still would be like discussion and dissension about.
I do think there's racism, but not.
I know. I'm just
I do. Sorry, if I just didn't want to make it act like I didn't think it was racist at all.
No,
I do, but just not necessarily.
I get it. I'm just saying. To me, I think there's racism afoot if it was in the West. If they were being sent to America or anywhere that people believe is a first world country, there would be definitely problems about, them offloading their refugees. But I think there's an extra thing in the way they're saying it's cruel and inhumane. There's something in that language that means it's because it's going to Africa and it's going to Rwanda and going to play. Of course, Rwanda's political history plays a major part in this outrage. And maybe if it was like a more politically stable country, they might be like, "Oh," but I'm just very interested to hear the words that are being used to describe these refugees being sent to Africa. I definitely also think about this recolonization, this sidewinding version of colonization. I agree, it's that, because it's just you're putting down these roots. You're having this. It was more than 120 million pounds that UK somehow has going to Africa, to an African country. That deal binds you. No matter what, you then have to step up when they want you. This isn't just you're taking these refugees off our hands. UK isn't set up like that. It's not set up like that. There's a lot more sly, a lot more underhand. I don't know what this president is going to do with the money, whether it's going to trickle back into the country in any type of way. It'll be interesting to hear what Rwandan citizens think of this deal. And I've seen a lot of people saying, "What the hell are you doing? We got to fix our own country," and things like that. But I would love to hear from people on the ground. I don't like it because of that. I don't like it because of the deal and how then we're still connected to our colonizers. It's just long.
Part of Priti's speech that she made the other day, she said the agreement fully complies with all international and national law and is part of a groundbreaking agreement. The UK is making substantial investment in the economic development of Rwanda. So, as I said, and as you just so eloquently put it, there's going to be a price to pay for this.
Absolutely.
It definitely reaches some colonialism. The other interesting thing is, if you're sending only men there, which is what they're implying at the moment, what is that going to do to the population? If you've suddenly, and Boris has said it's an unlimited amount of people they'll be sending. So it could be tens of thousands of people.
What type in the name of slavery is this?
Yeah, he's literally used the words an unlimited amount of people that they're sending there. So if you're sending an unlimited amount of males into this Rwandan population, what is that going to do for the ratio of men to women? What's that going to do for those people? What's it going to do for black people out there? You know, it's.
They don't care about that shit. This is about.
This is what I'm saying. They literally don't care. They're just creating a problem off of their own doorstep. That's what they're doing. They're sending all these people out there. And again, let's not forget, this is the same government who only a couple of weeks ago were telling the British people to open up their doors and take the Ukrainians for £350 a month. Sorry. So all of a sudden, they're saying that because these people are illegal, they don't deserve the same rights as someone who, in their eyes, is fleeing war or fleeing, you know, circumstances that is beyond their control. It's not the same as the Ukrainians, which is basically what they're saying. She's saying, you know, it's Priti Patel was saying that these people are illegal, and often the reasons that they're giving for coming here aren't valid. And once they get to Rwanda, if those reasons are found to be not valid, they at that point will be sent home. So they will go from traveling across the bloody across the European continent, across the Channel to England, then being deported, or not even deported, sorry, then being transported, because let's use the right terminology, transported from the UK 4,000 of miles away to Rwanda, only then to be transported somewhere else. And how do we know who's keeping records of these people as well?
Well, exactly.
Where are the records being held of these people? Because a lot of these people come and they don't have, as I said before, documentation. So anything can happen to them. This idea that
it's about that. It's absolutely about free labor. It's about
that's my point.
Slavery.
Yes.
They're going to work. They're all going to get asylum. They are going to be, you're creating a working class to come in and work for peanuts. You're just shifting slavery. And that's why, remember, it starts with men. That's what they're after. You're going to have men. They are so going to have women there. They're going to be reproducing, and you're just going to have a new underclass.
Absolutely.
Just did the maths. I mean, it's pretty easy maths. Now I did the numbers. The amount 120 million divided by 30,000 is 4,000. So Boris is talking about unlimited. It only that money covers 4,000 people. So you're talking about has President of Rwanda actually thought this through? Because man saying unlimited
money was for them to do it. I thought that was payment for this scheme. I didn't think that was to look after them. I thought that was a separate amount of money.
So they got hold on.
Million.
Okay. So you got 120 million to do this. Are you trying to tell me that that's just money for your kitty? And then who's paying the 30,000 per person? That's what they are. I think
like the British government is going to be doing.
But that's what I think. That's what I think is coming out of the 120 million. Obviously, it's not going to them because everyone's going to chop off the top. But because you can do that for less, people are living for less, so you're going to chop off the top. But my point is that covers 4,000 people. Boris is talking about unlimited numbers, but yet, so your money doesn't add up. So you're going to have an influx potentially of countless refugees to a country that's just struggling.
No, I get what you're saying, but how I read it, 120 million is to the Rwandan government to do this, because you got to pay. Like when they were doing the new
I understand, but so where's
it's like you paid for it to happen. So the 30,000 per person, they're saying is cheaper to pay for them to be housed in Rwanda over there than if they were in the deportation centers over here. They're saying
that I get that, but my point is because Rwanda doesn't have 30,000 per unlimited.
The British government. The British government are going to be paying for it
continuously.
Yes, that's what they're saying, but they're obviously not going to pay that because the person is going to get asylum and they're going to have to work. It's like it's going to cost them that.
So also in the report, it's like saying in Belgium, the Flemish far right approve of this, and several, like the Belgian immigration minister approves of this. It's just like this is a far right disposal of the ethnics. Let's not have them in our Western Pure Lands. Let's have them over with the blacks because they'll take them and they owe us anyway because they withdrew themselves from slavery, and they caused us a deficit in money. So let's just get them back in this way. Let's get the comments.
Okay, let's read one more thing. There was a politician, a Labour shadow government Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper. She said there is no information from the Home Secretary about the cost today. The 120 million she has announced doesn't pay for a single person to be transferred. And it doesn't actually, there is no agreement on price. It's just 120 million is, as Aunty Nana said, what she's paying Rwanda. It's not the the payment of transportation per person.
Yeah, you pay for the land.
Mr. Vincent, there was a little clip of him on a news report. Vincent Baruta, I was saying, Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs says that he made a point saying we'd prefer not to receive people from neighboring countries like DRC, Burundi, Uganda, or Tanzania. Apparently, people are saying it's taken out of context. I haven't watched the whole thing, the whole press conference.
That's funny because in Priti's speech over there, she named the Democratic Republic of Congo as one of the countries that they've taken people from. That's what she said. She said in her speech, Rwanda has a great history on immigration and has taken people from such and such and such and such countries.
So what I was going to say is that that quote apparently has been taken out of context because he did say there are other channels for immigration from other places, but for this particular scheme, they prefer not to receive people from neighboring countries like DRC, Burundi, Uganda, Tanzania. So that I wonder if that means that, again, the finer details of the contract means you can't be taking other Africans in and prospering other Africans, because that's what it would mean. If you're going to talk about you're going to get it's empowering other Africans. So he's making it clear, unfortunately, not for this particular scheme. You can do the other channels that we do, but we don't have money for those one potentially. This one is a Western deal that actually they have to be of a certain background, but not from our neighboring countries. Because that would make perfect sense that if an African country welcomed its African immigrants and, empowered ourselves within ourselves. Nonsense.
Well, yeah, I get it, because if you take in the neighbourings and then the British government or the Belgian government as well are paying for them to be climatized, and so you're going to give them accommodation and everything else, you can just take all of the perks of doing this route and then go to your neighbouring country. They make out this is a really simple thing to happen. When you leave and you're on a boat, that you're not risking your life every single day to do this. Somebody is going to do all of that to do well in Rwanda. It's so fucked up, and it really plays a trick on humans. You start to lose the humanity in what somebody's going through, because then it all turns into it's all about money. But that's how they're going to get people as well, and people to be compliant with this fuckeries.
Priti's name is so ironic. It's so ironic. No. Can we get the comments, please?
Okay, I'll start with Victoria. She says Rwanda is one of the fastest. Sorry?
Oh, sorry, I was saying Victoria's vexed.
Rwanda is one of the fastest growing economies in Africa, largely because Kagame rejected France and a whole bunch of Europeanisms. If they were being sent to Brussels, the outrage will not be the same. Casual racism aside, this is Kagame we are talking about, problematic as fuck. If there is one African leader who will make Priti regret the day that she was born down the line, it is Kagame. This will come back. Where have I just lost my point? Sorry. This will come back to haunt them big time. Bear in mind, he also struck a deal to send refugees who settled in Rwanda to the UK. And why don't both keep their respective refugees in the first place? Technically, once you settle in Rwanda, you can come back. I get it. Wow. Okay. I'm going to jump to Ronald, who says, if the refugees are going to receive job training, isn't that unfair to unskilled, unemployed Rwandans? Could be. And then Victoria concludes with, the Nigerian government took in criminals on death row in China as free labor for construction sites. No one cared that the worst DNA from China is being mixed with Nigerians, as surprise, surprise, loads of Niger Chino babies. Free was all they heard. Let's also not forget that African leaders are ruthlessly capitalistic, with very little understanding, care for the racial nuances.
Bro, there's a lot.
That was a lot. We should definitely go into that on another show and discuss that.
Yeah, most definitely, because all right, Aunty Farrah, what have you heard?
Right, so sorry, let me just get to my news story. I was too busy reading Carl Rittenhouse's dumb comment there.
Carry on commenting, Carl. We need all the comments.
Yeah. Oh shit, hold on. Sorry. I need to scroll to the right part of the document. Okay, so as you all know, the Queen's Jubilee is coming up, and Harry and Meghan have been invited to make an appearance at the Jubilee, but they can only make an appearance on the balcony. They are allegedly not allowed to make an appearance in any other celebrations. So my question to you is a little bit like the Will Smith one last week. Would you go, if you were Harry and Meghan, would you make an appearance on the balcony knowing that you can't actually participate in anything else?
What are the anything else's that's going on with them?
Well, there's a whole celebration. There's like the street stuff. There's, you know, like there's going to be like when she's in her car and her horse and carriage, and she goes around, and there's lots of celebrations going on around the Queen's Jubilee, which is why there's another bank holiday. But they're not allowed to do anything official other than stand on the balcony and wave.
Oh, no, sorry, I meant waving. So they're not allowed to go to any of the parties. You know, like, because there's going to be lots of invites with the Queen, with Prince.
The 4-day celebration.
Yeah, there'll be all of those things that happen in Buckingham Palace, all of the palaces, and then the official stuff that would probably be happening at Number 10 and bits like that. All of those garden parties, I guess, they are not going to be official members of the royal family to be rolled out and meet people. I wouldn't give a shit. Who cares? I would do the waving from the balcony, like, and then go about my business. I really wouldn't mind. They actually didn't they step down from all of that anyway?
Yeah, apparently.
So I think it's fair.
I think it's again. Is this 100% confirmed? That is this like an official source that they're not going to be anywhere else but the balcony?
Well, that's what all the sources are saying, but you can only go as far as you can without it being a statement from the palace.
So I mean, the sources have proven so unreliable up until this point. However, if it's like, depending on, because you know it's so annoying speculating on stuff that we just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. If that's true, to me it's dumb, because like you can wave on the balcony. What does that mean? It doesn't show solidarity if you're not allowed to go anywhere else. So waving from the balcony is pointless. So on that principle alone, I'm not going, because it's dumb. Either we're in it and we're doing our thing, or we're not. Because waving from the balcony means nothing. And it just fuels more fire for the stupid trolls, for the people that make ill-informed comments and reactions to a family that they do not know what the hell's going on behind closed doors. I don't know why I have an obsession with looking at Meghan comments and just trying to get into the mind of the mad people on out there that literally comment with so much. She's like, I saw she's a bunny boiler witch who's brainwashed her husband. You're still saying that. I don't understand. What more can they do to show that they're cool? That Harry's cool, Meghan's cool. There's so much just confidence on the online, and it's not always just trolls and bots. It's actual people with actual profiles commenting with just dumb confidence. So yeah, I just feel like I personally wouldn't go if all I'm doing is waving on the balcony, because it's dumb. Unless there's an actual common sense realization between the family that this is why this has to happen. For anything more, that like something that's more deeper than protocol, something that makes sense to something in our lineage, in our family setup, why I'm only going to be able to wave from the balcony. If there's no real viable reason, fuck it, I'm not going. We can sit in the front room, have a chat, watch TV, and then I'm going to go. When you're not going out to all those parties, I'm going to go back to my babies and have fun in my country, my new country, and go about my business. I'm not sitting there waving from a balcony just to show face for what? Sorry, it incenses me.
So there's apparently going to be at least eight official celebrations for the Queen's Jubilee. And as I said before, Harry and Meghan are only allowed to go. There's actually two things they're allowed to go to. They're allowed to go to the church service and on to the balcony, but they're not allowed to be in any of the official parties or street celebrations for the Queen during her Jubilee.
And when they say official street parties, is it anyone? Okay, official street parties are around Buckingham Palace, right? Is there a reason as to why?
Because they're not royal. They're not
part of it.
Yeah, they're not official royal working members, are they?
Precisely that. That's what they stepped down from.
Stupidity. Yeah. It's stupidity.
But because the reason why I was saying it is because for me, it's not so much official royal work, is it? It's the Queen's jubilee, it's her celebration, it's his grand's celebration. So I suppose that there's that side of me that, like, I understand if he was going out and doing the roles that they were doing before, but if it's a celebration where all of your family are there celebrating your grandmother's achievement, it seems a bit like sad that he can't participate in anything other than going to the church and sitting on the balcony. But then again, maybe that's all that they want to do. You know, he obviously has a relationship with his grandmother outside of the media eye, and I think that's probably the most important thing that there is, despite what the media wants to say about it. I mean, there was an article that I read and it was like, why has Meghan left without Harry? Because she's got 2 babies and they didn't bring their kids with them. That's why. Like, why is it a thing? It's like you said, Aunty AK, why do people need to comment on it? You know, I think if I was Harry, I probably would go on the balcony because, you know, it's a good family picture as well, isn't it? Mm-hmm. In years to come, it's a good family picture. He probably wants to be there as much as he can for his gran because she's his gran first, isn't she? So, yeah, I think in that situation I would go. And then I'd fuck off back home because I don't want to be part of that bullshit anyway. What's surprising to me is there's all this press about what Harry and Meghan are going to do, but I haven't seen a single thing about what Andrew's going to do. Not one.
Of course.
Is he going to be on the balcony?
He'll be on the balcony. He'll be on the balcony in the back. He'll be there. It will be 2 big.
Oh, hold on. Here's a line. It says that the Queen allegedly has asked Prince Andrew to support her as she walks. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I bun the whole damn thing.
that's my sentiments as well. Like, the quicker they're all removed from this role, the better.
Yeah,
it's nonsense. You know, like beyond nonsense. That's why I'm like, I'm not going. Anyway, Aunty Nana,
I have a comment from Victoria who says, wherever they are, Meghan and Harry will still get the most attention. Sorry, Camilla, and it is what it is.
It is literally what it is, and it's dumb. All of it is dumb. Standing on a balcony for what? And I can't go to celebrate my nan. I'm going. That's the thing. And me, I'll be like, I'm there. What are you doing? You're going to forcibly remove me. If it's either I go and you just have it and just allow me, or I'm not doing the balcony. It's one or the other. Don't be stupid. My whole gran. Fuck protocol.
But he has black family now. Yeah. He doesn't want to be a part of this pomp and ceremony anyway. He finds it boring as hell. Like, I know him. But I know he knows this is dry.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, he said it. I mean, he said he feels sorry for his brother and his dad. He's that.
Anyway, he probably told them, I ain't going to anything other than waving on the balcony and I'll do a little procession thing with the. And now they got to try and spin it to all of us like, oh, he's not being allowed. They didn't want to do anything else. Realistically, the royal family are probably like really want Harry and Meghan to do a little bit more to prove that they are not racist. They probably want them to do more. I think it's good. Stay there.
There is
that wave.
There is that indeed.
All right, what have you heard, Auntie?
Okay, so my story, I'm hoping you guys have seen it and everybody around the world has now seen what's happening in China, in Shanghai, where they have had a 3-week lockdown so far. And I think it's like almost 30 million people are in their houses and complaining that there's not enough food. There's been lots of videos going around of various people in their tower block houses, like how it's all set up in Shanghai, screaming and shouting through the night. So many different angles of people like pixelating their faces, because if they're found to be talking about the Chinese government, you can be put in various camps. They have COVID places where if you have positive COVID results, you're locked up in a block of flat with other people, or you're in big, large hospitals or stadiums removed from your family because you have the Omicron virus. So far, in these 3 weeks, there's actually only been 1 death. But for some reason, the Chinese government are hell-bent on having a 0 COVID rate. Nobody kind of really understands. But again, nobody politically is really stepping in, because it's China, to condemn them, to kind of do anything about it. And it's only been reported in the last week. And this has been going on for ages. So my question to you guys is, like, what do you think of the treatment? But also, does the treatment in China and what was happening in Australia as well, where they were removing people and putting them into COVID camps, and it's a similar thing that they're doing in China, does that scare you that potentially that kind of treatment could be done over here?
Yeah, it can be. I think it's like all the governments are flexing their muscles and seeing how they're ways to recontrol the nation, because the internet has broken down all the barriers. The internet has offered us a lot of freedom that I don't think people foresaw. You know, when the beast grows bigger than the trainer can train it and control it. And you unleashed this thing, you gave us freedom to connect with each other because it helped you as a government, obviously, to make technology advance and get your power up. However, people power, humans adapt as well. And they're forgetting the power of human connectivity. That's why they try and keep us isolated by all these rules, borders, tribal wars, and instigation to make us all at loggerheads with each other in so many different ways. But when we pause and get information, and especially speaking from as a Black person, the fact that we've started to connect each other, I'm not saying we're the only catalyst, but when Black people start to connect and unite, you know, the world starts to get panicky. The government, the Western governments undoubtedly get panicked. And so there's looking at ways to recolonize the mind of all the people who've been freed by the internet. And I think it's just as simple as that. So I think there's definitely ways. The UK, the West are going to do it in ways that make us think we're still free, but they're going to implement things like, yes, sending random asylum seekers to another country by upping the stakes when it comes to upping our rates on our housing and stuff like that. So then they, you know, there's that the Great Reset, when they start looking at universal incomes and make us dependent, so we don't own anything, we're dependent on the state to survive, removing that freedom and controlling the media, as they do now. The media is manipulated by bullshit and by having a dictator in charge. We've got Boris Johnson, who has committed ultimate governmental treason, but he's still in power.
Yeah,
you're still on the throne. How? In days before, this would never happen. Never, ever happen. This man has lied. He's cheated. He's broken laws. He's just done anything recklessly with a hairstyle of an abomination on his head. All doing that. And you are just still in power. And you, like I said, keep Africa's name out my fucking mouth, out your fucking mouths. Don't talk like yes, is my very long answer to that. Yes, it can happen over here. It will just be done in ways where we don't think it's the same, because they definitely don't want to look like the brown, the yellow, and the Black people. However, they can definitely do it over here. And it is scary. But I think they're all trying different methods on how to control the people because we're too free. I mean, obviously, people in China and certain countries that are under that communist rule don't have the same freedoms. However, it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't think anything is impossible in this country. What I do know is there was an illusion of freedom in this country, you know? So whilst we think we're a lot more freer than in countries that you would say are, you know, under, what's the word? I'm going to forget it. Dictatorship. We're under a dictatorship. So many things have taken place in Britain that the British people do not want to go ahead. So many things, and we don't have a say. So that is a dictatorship. But they give us the illusion of freedom by giving us a little to think that we have a lot. And it's that you're enslaved in your mind as opposed to physically enslaved, isn't it? So I definitely think that could happen here. I think that we were locked down a few times where probably we didn't need to be. And that's not to say that I'm one of these people that thinks that COVID isn't real. I do think that it's real. And I do think that there were points where we did need to be locked down. But if you've got Boris partying away and his government now saying that they ambushed him with a cake. That's what the news reports are saying now. He was ambushed. The politicians come forward and saying we ambushed him with this cake. He didn't want to accept it. If you've got stuff like that happening, and you know, very high level politicians having affairs behind doors whilst they're supposed to be, you know, 2 meters away from everybody else and doing all of these things, whilst the great British public are sacrificing and not being able to see their loved ones who are dying in hospitals, then yes, I think that anything is possible. And I think that this could definitely happen here. We're not, you know, the UK is not innocent of
absolutely
or any better than them. I was watching so many different perspectives and people talking, and and talking about their experiences from going to work and hearing like their work building, like the next door work building had been shut down and people weren't allowed to leave that building to go home because somebody in the building had got COVID. So then they're scared and thinking, are we even going to be allowed to go home? Then you'll go home and then it's like somebody in our block may have it. Then your block gets locked down, and that kind of spreading before they did a total lockdown. But it's the measures that they're taking where they're putting stickers on doors. And if you break the seal, then you can be arrested for doing that. So it's not even like they're locking you in. They're doing like lots of psychological things where it's like you can't leave. You don't get proper access to food. So you're having to like bulk buy and hope that it be delivered. And have you seen like the pictures of the cats in bags, like people losing their pets because they can't feed them? So it's like, and the ones that were on the streets because you can't get back into the building because the buildings are shut down. So there's lots of animals that were being out and about, like a cat would roam, but then they're not having any access to food because all of the shops are closed and there's not like bits and pieces on the streets. And I was just like, this is crazy that one of the richest countries in the world can do this to their citizens and nobody else is responding. But you guys are going ham for leather talking about Russia invading the Ukraine. And what's happening, what a government's doing to its people doesn't seem to get near any mention. Same with like Australia, what was going on there. It's like everybody was kind of like, oh, this is just happening in Australia. That signifies to me that they could easily do this all around the world. And they're probably watching China and thinking, actually, okay, so they're rising up a little bit, but it hasn't turned into a civil war. How long can they do this to these people for? And it's not turning into a civil war. We could probably do this over here in our country. Like I always think there's those measures that are going on when governments are not condemning it. Like they're actually watching how many people can you subdue before it turns into a civil war. It's like they're gauging our tipping points to see, oh, you can lock up a few million and nothing really happens. So they could totally do that over here and we would probably all comply.
I think though, the only thing I would say to that is that because people from China have had that existence since their existence, so it's like every culture has its own personality of how they act. Because like they always say, like in France, people rebel for less, whereas we don't fight the same way. So it depends on which government's watching what and how. That's why I think every country will watch tactics, but see how they can apply it to their people and see what we react to. Because I think I agree. But I think that I don't know if all the tactics that they do in China work in every single country. I guess everyone's taking tips.
No, but they're doing
all of them. But you're
watching
how.
They'll watch who and how.
Yeah. But we're all being compliant at this moment.
True.
Like, we've all set a real tone that two members, flipping the Prime Minister and the Chancellor, can disobey the law, get a fine, and still have jobs. That literally is the definition of a dictatorship. Like,
absolutely.
We're not rising up against it. Like, Keir Starmer wasn't like, I'm taking over Parliament. None of that took place. Everybody is being like, oh, okay. And that's not even news anymore.
It's not news anymore. They've moved on.
Yeah. I was going to say that also, the other thing is that the deal between China and the rest of the world, what is that deal? What is that conversation? What is the sign on the dotted line between them? Because when the world doesn't react, is it because they feel like they can't? Or
it's that. I think that's what it is. I think China has basically said to the rest of the world, leave us the fuck alone. We're going to do what we're going to do. We don't interfere in what you lot are doing. Leave us the fuck alone. We don't need you. Leave us alone. I pretty much feel like that's what it is, because do you know what? Britain's like a bully, innit? They pick on people who they know that they can have up. That's what they do. Yeah. And that whilst they're not going to implement everything that China or any other country has done, they're going to look at what these countries have done and they're going to do what their version of that is to us. Because we are pretty compliant here. You know, they told us, don't have parties, don't go see your loved ones, don't go do all this. And a vast majority of the population agreed with and complied with that.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say, I'd go as far as to say that 90% of the population probably complied with that.
I would say so.
And then the rest of the population, to their absolute detriment. And then the 10% who didn't, who were caught and were fined, like AJ Tracy,
I know,
was fined £10,000. He was fined £10,000. When Boris was fined how much? They won't even tell us. And the reason why they won't tell us is it's probably the price of the parking ticket. Did they have they said it now?
I thought it was £50. I thought that was like.
There was one. The first report said that some MPs were fined £50. They haven't really. Listen,
yeah, they haven't.
We know. First and foremost, it's just lip service.
Yeah. They haven't said how much it was. They just said it's a PCN, and you know that a PCN can be between this much and between that much. And if you pay it within 14 days, it can go down to £30.
Bro, they're not getting.
We don't even know what he's paid. And it's very, very interesting to me that no one will say what the amount was.
It's dumb. We're in a dictatorship. They should just allow it. They might as well just tell us what to do tomorrow. Just tell me what to do in it, and then let me figure it out. I just, as we wrap up, I think I mentioned it a few weeks ago, but because we're talking about poverty, climate, control, the article, the moon should be privatized to help wipe out poverty on Earth, economists say.
What? Hang on. The moon should be privatized
to help out poverty on Earth. They're saying, according to a strange report, this article in Indy 100, the little pamphlet from the Independent, privatizing the moon is the next bright idea to help wipe out poverty on Earth. According to a strange report by neoliberal think tank, the Adam Smith Institute, the satellite should be divided into parcels of land and assigned to different countries to rent out to businesses, boosting the economy. The economists also reckon this would boost space tourism, exploration, and discovery. Economic researcher Rebecca Lowe, who compiled the report, said a clear, morally justified and efficient system for assigning and governing property rights in space will present vast benefits that go beyond financial rewards for people who will become owners. Such a system would incentivize responsible stewardship of space, as well as opportunities for new scientific discovery and democratized space exploration. And now, as I always want to know, where is Africa and the Caribbean in this conversation about privatizing the moon to eradicate Earth poverty? Just wanted to know before we move on.
Who decides who gets how much?
Yeah.
Whose decision is that? Because doesn't the moon belong to everybody on Earth?
Hold on. The Outer Space Treaty, drawn up at the United Nations in 1967, currently bans countries and individuals from owning property in space. But they are still keen on the idea. The Institute's head of research, Daniel Pryor, said property rights play a key role in boosting living standards, innovation, and human dignity here on Earth. The same would be true if we apply this logic to space, which presents a unique opportunity to start afresh when designing effective rules of ownership.
We just all need to go. Like, this is ridiculous. And the Earth doesn't own the moon owns the moon. It's just there, innit, doing its thing, and it's just doing its thing.
Moon's just mooning, and then the Earth
and then now you've got flipping little humans like the size of us talking about, we're now going to own the moon. The moon is anyway, and they called it a satellite as well. Like literally, it's like whatever. Just to go back, actually, it like kind of fits in with this. I was watching a news report, and there were scientists who had chained themselves to a building in America talking about climate change. And one of the scientists was crying and pleading with the cameraman, saying, I have tried every way. We are trying every way to tell the world that the world is ending if we don't change our ways. And we're trying. And then there was a policeman to the side. That it was literally like a scene out of Don't Look Up. The policeman said, sir, you have a minute and then I'm gonna arrest you. And he's pleading to the camera, crying like, please, everybody, we need to save the Earth. We don't have much time. And then we saw him being arrested, and then they just cut to a new news segment. These guys know what's going on. They want to leave. They no, they need to leave Earth because we're fucking it up. And
did you see the GMB? The GMB interview, and it was Richard Madeley and this, I forget her name, some environmentalist anyway. And what they did was they cut from Richard Madeley and this woman to scenes from Don't Look Up, because she's there having a serious conversation and telling him what's going on, and like, we've got a limited amount of time to save the earth. And he said to her, but aren't the clothes that you're wearing a result of fossil fuels? You know, where have they come from? And she's like, we need to stop burning fossil fuels. But the clothes that you're wearing, you know, you're wearing clothes. It was so ridiculous.
But we're all going to burn. Like, I don't know how it's going to end, but it's going to end, and it's going to be like, wow, they really did try and tell us, you know.
Listen, you know that might have been a Freudian slip then calling the moon a satellite. What if? Because we are in the Truman Show.
Did you watch? Has anyone seen that film with Halle Berry in it? And it's called Moonfall.
I didn't.
Like, basically, the moon isn't real. Like, it's an arc. Yeah, and the engine of the moon is a dwarf star, and the dwarf star is, as I said, the engine. But it's with the moon itself. What you see on the outside is just a shell, and it's an arc inside, and it's got like fields and spaceships and everything, and like the genetic model for life as we know it. And
all I want everybody watching and listening to do. First of all, governments, remove yourself from this conversation. Don't listen to us. We're just crazy black aunties. However, our real fans and followers, hear what the aunties are saying, y'all. Sort yourself out. Aunty Sade's got her escape bag. I'm going to pack one too. We will meet us on the corner of the hill. You'll know what hill it is, and we will start the movement to where we're going to go. I'm not going to reveal everything now, but we've got a plan, an escape route. That's all I'm saying, man. Crazy aunties, just don't worry about it.
We need an escape route.
Need one for real, like honestly. All right, let's move on because whatever the government. All right, we're moving to aunties know best. 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 Aunties know best.
Know best.
Aunties know best. They 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 know best. Because we are the aunties who know best.
We could actually go studio and one.
Literally, we can go to studio on this one. Who know best?
Because I could like sing in a rap.
You could.
Aunties know best, big up your chest.
Seriously.
Aunties know best, big up your chest, and around to the rest.
This is abuse in the workplace, right? This is abuse in the workplace.
Because the aunties know best.
I've told you that I'm uncomfortable about something, and you persist. It is abuse.
How about you are quenching the creativity of your colleagues at work?
No, this is abuse.
That is creative control. You are a dictator.
It's abuse.
Aunties know.
Have you got one? Has anyone got one?
I got one.
I'm actually going to keep talking. I actually have one.
Oh, did you decide to have one just randomly?
Did I decide to? I've had loads the last few weeks.
That's what I'm saying, because it wasn't your go, but I'm just saying.
Okay, no, cool then. We can maybe talk about it once we do this one.
Actually,
can I just go to it's a question. Has AK considered auto-tune from Ronald?
Ronald, I don't know what that means. I don't know if you're dissing me or you're complimenting me. But also,
I think you know what he means.
It doesn't mean anything to me what you're saying, because what I know and what I know in my heart and my vocal cords, that I am a bad girl singer, and my jingles will go far and wide and live on forevermore. That will be the beacon call on our travels to safety. So you shush, Mr. Ronald. I also want to get an auto-tuner because that will make me go even deeper into my singing career.
Well done.
Yeah. All right, go on, Aunty Farrah,
please.
Actually, okay, let me do this one because it is like topical. It's Anatomy of the Scandal. I don't know if you guys are watching it. It's a new series that's come to Netflix. It's breaking. It's number one. It's apparently beaten all the odds of Bridgerton, and it's now rated #1. They're releasing it episodically. I think it's 6 episodes. First episode is up now on UK Netflix. Not sure if it's global Netflix, but have a look out. It shouldn't take long if it's not in your territory just yet. So the nutshell is, so I'm just going to pose it to you as the dilemma. What would you do if your husband is in the public eye and the story breaks that he's having an affair? His job depends on him being in a secure, loving family, and his PR are warning you, you cannot leave for the optics. You have 2 children, you're married for a lifetime, and as more is revealed, it actually happens that your husband's been accused of rape and it has to stand trial. What would you do? Or what should the wife do?
Okay. All right. If I totally believe that my husband hasn't raped this person, but has consensually had sex, and so he's had an affair, I would probably stand by him because he is the father of my children. So I'm not going to go through with the divorce until after the trial has had its reign and everything else. It would really depend on the situation and how it first comes to light. But if I believe him, for as long as I believe that he just had an affair, I would stick by him because of his profile and our family's profile and for my family's well-being. If then I start to believe that he definitely did rape this woman, I don't care what the PR person is saying, I'm off. It doesn't matter how that's going to go down. I would want nothing to do with it. And so me and my kids are going to go elsewhere. But for some time, I may stay about. I would stay there.
Auntie Farrah.
Yeah, I agree. If I think that he's raped somebody, I'm off. I don't care what anyone's saying. I don't care what's going to happen to him because you're a rapist and you're filth. If I think that he's had an affair, I also don't know if I'd say. I don't know. I'd have to. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think it's one of those difficult ones because when it's the optics, when your whole life is invested in the public eye business. I think people always like, we'll just leave. And sometimes it's not always as easy as that. Even in a day-to-day relationship, it's like, are you going to leave? Like, everyone's like, no, leave him, and I'm not going to leave him. I'm going to stick by my family. So it's the extra public eye element. It's the fact that the guys, well, in this case, he's an MP. Your career depends on that 2.4 family look, and you have that. And then even you as a woman, especially if you're married into that ideals, that means you don't necessarily have your own independence. Removing yourself from that setup potentially crumbles your whole world and starting again in that outlook. But I think my answer is similar to you guys, but it would be hard. I wouldn't walk out the door straight away. Possibly, I'd probably figure out how to work it, and then. But in the end, emotion's going to get the better of me, and I probably would end up leaving, because it's humiliation. We'll see. But anyway, guys, watch Anatomy of a Scandal. It's on Netflix, and let's reconvene when it's finished, if you so desire to watch it.
Okay, I will give it a go. Go on. Does Farrah have one?
Yeah, your dilemma, Farrah.
Okay, so this I saw on Tinternet, and it says, I'm 21 and my girl is turning 17 in 2 months. But what's the actual issue? Because at the end of the day, most of our parents have a 5 to 10 year age gap. It's hypocrisy all round. They actually said big hypocrisy all round. Do you think it's hypocritical? Do you see a problem with the 5-year age gap between a 21-year-old and a 17-year-old?
Soon to be 17 at that.
Yeah, sorry, soon to be 17.
16 years old, and this person is 21, and they don't see a problem. Like, come on, bruv. Like, nah, that's off as hell.
Do you know what? It is that whole thing that we've all talked about. There is that space between legality. Like yesterday I'm 16, tomorrow I'm 17. And there is that space in grouping when you're going out up and down where you could buck up into somebody that looks similar age, but the difference is a thing. So if that person, first of all, I think this is a troll, and I think it's someone just trying to get attention, talking shit, because they know what the deal is. You actually know what the deal is. But in the reality of it, I can't say, I was never in that situation, but I cannot say at 16, if I saw a 21-year-old, that I would be like, think is necessarily wrong, potentially, especially there was a time during college, that transition between high school, college, and college students being in that environment, going raving and stuff, it wouldn't be hard to cross paths with someone who's older than me, but I wouldn't feel like they were older than me because we're in the same circles, potentially. So I can understand the boundary flaunting, whatever the word is, between it. However, the person is being stupid because you know how the world society is set up. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I can see where it gets murky at that teenage, early 20dom mixing pot, especially in the days of when we always used to go raving and stuff and in clubs and meeting guys. And I can see the blurred lines.
I hear.
I hear what you're saying, but he's the adult in the scenario.
Yeah, of course.
You know, like I definitely hear what you're saying about being 16 and seeing guys that were in their 20s and thinking, oh, they're nice. Like, what's the problem? Yep. It's 4 years. But I'm 16 and they're 20. So they should see the issue. Just like if I'm 20 and a 16-year-old is looking at me, I see the issue because I'm 20. Yeah. There is a period of time where you are still a child and someone else is an adult. And you have to look at, why does that adult person want to be with someone who is still mentally developing, physically developing, because they are a child?
Yeah.
There's that. And it's not, and if this person was 17, not just about to turn 17, I'd still have an issue with it. Because I can say hands on heart, my niece is going to be 18 in a minute. If I had that she's chatting to a 22-year-old, I want to talk to the 22-year-old and ask him, why are you chatting to my niece? Because what's that? You're 22. There are certain things that you're mentally aware of that a teenager is not. Or your average teenager is not.
I don't know. I'm like 18
to 22. I understand 18 to 22 way
Me
more.
too. I can understand 18 to 22 more than
because of university. That's how I group it. It's the 16-year-old
if you're in school.
Yeah.
If you're in
16-year-old, even if so they're doing their A-levels or they're doing a BTEC or whatever they're up to, but they're in college, a 21-year-old who's gone through education is actually finishing university. Or they've been working for a while. Those parts of your life are so different. Yeah. Why are you seeing the 16-year-old as attractive? That for me is like, I can see why the 16-year-old is going to see you as attractive.
Absolutely.
Hormonally, it's really impressive. You know the world. Yeah. It's like you're going to seek that. But for the older one, I think you have emotional issues and you were probably going to manipulate this young girl who doesn't know about the world yet.
It's a manipulation that the younger person could be, not male or female, could be subjected to because someone is older and able to influence them in a certain way. Exactly. And that younger person may feel like they need to do stuff
to impress them.
Because also it's like whenever guys do whenever guys are in this situation, it's like there's so many other people to pick from. Why do you have to target the school gate? It's like this, or just I don't know.
Yeah, no, it isn't that. It's the naivety of young girls. They're eager to please. You're going to be able to mold them, and they talk about it. I don't even think in society this is seen as bad. I don't think amongst guys in their peer groups they police this in any way. I think it's very normal to have a younger girl,
and it's only because of the law
with them.
Yeah,
I think it's just normal. Yeah. I think it's usually older women, and not even older men. I think it's usually older women who remember when you were 16 and how you could be easily manipulated and probably went through a succession friends that just did a lot of fuckeries to you, and it's like they were able to do that because I was so young and they were older, and so I want to please them. And that's what they will work on. And then before you know it, it's like, as you get older, you are like, I was really young and naive. And all he had to say was, oh, I like you, or I like you wearing this. And then that's it, you're off. You're off in the fairies with them. And men know that. I think they absolutely are okay with a younger girl being around their boys and them finding their friends and all of that. I think they do not they don't care at all about the age.
Also, when you're that age, things happen to you that you probably think are okay, kind of like what you just said, but I mean like actual physical things happen to you. that you don't actually see as abuse because you just think it's normal because you don't know what is normal and what's not normal yet because you're 16. So yeah, it's dodgy as hell, that to me.
And I think that, and it carries on in life because as you get to a mature age, the men are encouraged to seek someone younger because women of their age group don't put up with the bullshit. Very, you know, we're speaking in broad stroke terms, not everybody. However, in that consensus, it's like the older guy goes for the younger woman. He's not going to challenge them or in a way that an older woman would. And that's the only reason why they would ever say don't go for a younger because you might get arrested. But it's not because that's the only thing. It's because you might get arrested, not necessarily following through that. What are you doing to manipulate that mind? I'm sure this conversation has been had, but I've never really heard men exploring it. Like, actually, this young girl needs room to grow and find her own mind before we as men come and impose our older mindset onto them. I've never heard that discussion. I've only heard it stop at, you don't want to trouble the young things because you're going to jail. That's it. Yeah. Never any nuance. It's usually women that say this is the reason why you shouldn't go for young women, young girls. Never men. I know I'd love a man to step up and say, actually, these are the conversations I've had with my son and my nephews and my homies, that the reason why we should leave the younger women alone is because we don't need to influence them, let them explore themselves. But remember, the independent woman is a danger, a threat.
But do you remember there was that Breakfast Club where Kanye West is talking about Tiger and he was like, Tiger's smart. He got Kylie early. And they all laughed. And he was going out with Kylie when she was she turning 17? Very similar. He was very young. But that was the mindset. He literally was like, Tiger was smart. He got her early. And it's like, what type of shit is that? And none of them were like, that's gross. That's disgusting. They laughed about it and like moved on. And I think those are the dodgy grounds. And it usually is when you're older. I definitely remember being 16. Most of my boyfriends then were older. There wasn't another 16-year-old. It's like they were 18 and older, and that just seemed absolutely normal. And it is like, actually, what? Why are you hanging around with me? I can't even like do the same things. I can't go to the same places you can go. I found myself there, but I shouldn't have been there. And those are like the blurred lines. Even, you know, going into a club at 16, I don't think I looked older to get into an over 18.
We've said this
before. All men. We were not
challenged. We were not challenged at 16 going clubbing. Not at all. It's as we were older, people wanted to ask for ID. No, we didn't have to have ID, provide ID not once being 16 going to West.
No, not at all.
Little girls in little clothing trying to act grown, and it's bouncers that are big ass men who probably have daughters our age that were like, yeah, come in. They know it's all set up. They know what they're doing. You go to the bar, nobody's asking you for any ID, you're just buying drinks. All of that shit, they know what they're doing, and there definitely is an economy in a young female. And all of the rappers, they do it with singers. It's like they cash in on young females' naivety and run roughshod on them. And then you want to be like, oh, but she's mad. And it's like, what turned her mad? Probably a whole load of you fuckers doing fuck shit to her. And now she's just mad, insecure, defensive, wants to fight everybody, and is a loose cannon because she wasn't treated with love.
Yeah, basically. Let's get the comments.
Okay, so we have Victoria says it is more about maturity and emotional intelligence. The age gap might be the same, but the lived experience of a 16-year-old is different to a 35-year-old. Ronald says a 16-year-old girl wouldn't know what consent is, and a 20-year-old man knows that she doesn't. Exactly that.
I think we need to put it out there a lot more. Men, let's talk to men and boys about manipulation and letting women be free to discover themselves. It's not a win that you get them young so you can brainwash them and fuck them up in later life. Let's not do that. Let's change the narrative. Were there any more, or should we move on?
I don't have one. Sorry.
Okay. For the culture, we get into what's going on in the popular culture, what's going on in the gram. We have Lani Good, who we mentioned earlier on, a Backchat cast member, who was criticised for taking a picture of the police responding to her accusations of Marc Cuban sharing her nudes. People are criticising her for sharing every little piece of stuff on Insta, on social media. And Marc Cuban himself has asked the Full Disclosure team, we talked about it last week, the reality show that where it was exposed that he mentally and physically abused some women in the public eye. He's asked for screen time to discuss the allegations against him with the victims. We also have Monica, the infamous R&B singer of old. She posted a pic of her and her, I guess, love of her life, murda, Master P's brother, who's been in jail for pretty much since he was 16 for the murder of another 16-year-old boy at the time. And he's serving life indefinitely until his appeal, until his case is overturned. She posted a pic of her, and there was a conversation about, ride or die, loving a man on a death life sentence, loving a man in prison. There's a conversation around that. Axel Blake, if you're watching Britain's Got Talent, got a golden buzzer. Thandiwe Newton has been fired from Magic Mike film for erratic behavior, and she's off to rehab. This now kind of gives more context to the outburst about dark-skinned women that she made. She's obviously been suffering. And the big one, Rory from new Rory and Mal podcast has come to the social media streets to say Trey Songz is a rapist on a live video. And they said, forget about surviving R. Kelly. Surviving Trey Songz will be a lot worse, a lot more rapier, and a lot more disgusting. And we still haven't talked about Atlanta. And then also actor and rapper Kalen Walker has been found guilty of raping 6 victims. Kalen was in last popularly known in the film Superfly, the reboot of Superfly. What do you want to get into, guys?
Let's talk about Lani Good first. Go. Because for me, people are criticizing her, showing the fact that she made the online complaint, and then when the police came around, I mean, you're criticizing that she's reported a crime and that she's recording the police coming around. She didn't put any faces in. She just had a picture with the police around there. Shouldn't you be criticizing the man that leaked her nudes? Shouldn't that be more of a focus? But you're focusing on the fact that she's showing you that she's actually sucked up the energy to report this crime.
Yeah.
But you want to focus on the fact that she's reporting a crime and that she's showing it. People just need to get their priorities straight and just shut the fuck up if they don't understand the difference between right and wrong. Seriously.
I think I can say better. Monica and murda, guys, what do you think?
I don't have a position on this at all. Seeing, you know, when you just want somebody to be happy. Obviously, she's known this person from when she was younger. She's gone through a whole host of different relationships. Her latest one has ended in divorce. And if you're then going back to your original love and whatever the circumstances are, you know, they're fighting for him to be freed because they say he's in there unjustly and he's not that committed this murder. It's like, okay, be with him. To me, it's very different. I don't know. It just feels like people, it could just be out there that we see, seem to be able to get incarcerated very easily in America compared to here. And so it's like, if you meet a dude and you love him and you're going to love him and he's behind bars, do it. It's like, you know, she's looking after her kids. I don't have anything other than I want her to be happy.
Fair enough.
I kind of think you're right, because people always have this idea that I don't know the ins and outs of the case, but as you've just said, they're saying he's not this person. He was 16 when he committed the crime or alleged crime or whatever it is. And I just think there's a lot of things that we don't know. Just because somebody goes to jail doesn't automatically make them an evil person. Exactly. That's what I think. Yeah. And I think everyone within reason deserves the chance for, rehabilitation. And if she's been with this person or has known of this person, from a very young age, like she's in her 40s now, he's in his 40s now. We don't know the ins and outs of what's happened. And I just think that it's very quick to judge and just to base assumptions on the fact that this person is in jail.
And what you said about just because it's so weird and it seems so blasé. Just because someone's been convicted of a crime, and even if they did the crime, doesn't always mean that they're wicked and bad for life. But it's so that statement is so adjustable to different situations and different crimes, and which end of the crime you sit at, whether you're the victim, whether you're of the family of the accused, and the wider family, the wider friends. There's so many different opinions that can shape that one statement to be true or wrong. That I could agree with it on one person's case and I could disagree. And I could encourage a friend to stand by a man in jail for this particular thing, even if it potentially was murder. And then I would tell another friend, get your shit away from this guy. Allow him. He's not worth it. It's just one of those mind fucks. But again, I think, as you said, Aunty Nana as well, let her be happy. And yeah, let him, if he didn't do it, because he's maintained his innocence the whole time, if he didn't do it, then let him be free. I think they've even appealed to Kim Kardashian to help as well.
Yeah, she's helping at the moment. She actually is working on the case.
I don't know if he was actually 16, but apparently the crime was convicted of the January 12, 2002 beating and fatal shooting of a fan, 16-year-old Steve Thomas at the Platinum Club in Louisiana.
So the victim was, I think he was in his, then he probably would have been in his 20s, because he definitely,
because he's actually 51 now. He's 51 now. So in 2002, he would have been 20. Oh yeah, he would have been mid-20s.
He would have, if he's 51 now, 2002, he would have been 31.
Would have been 31. Okay, so he wasn't 16. My bad. Let me correct that. He wasn't 16. He was 30.
Although, just going back to what you were saying about, I guess, to summarize it, like I get redemption, or like that kind of, I really am mercy. I'm way more for, if you commit a crime, that there is a level of mercy that we actually give people. Because I don't think with most crimes, I think there is, and if somebody like shows that they literally understand what they've done, I think that they should have a reprieve. Like they should be able to be back in society and have love and carry on with their lives. I really am. I'm against the sentences that they give to people for life. It doesn't sit well with me unless it's got something to do with paedophilia or serial killing. But other than that, I really think that there should be a level of mercy as humans that we should have for most people. If they show that they're capable of being rehabilitated, I think that they should have love in their life, and they shouldn't be incarcerated forever at all.
I think, yeah, I'm very, very much for rehabilitation. And I don't know how but also the whole process from prison to post-life, because you can have, so that's rehabilitation. Because I'm thinking about inside the prison, how they help you face a life outside, but also support you for a good few years afterwards. Because especially if you've been on a very long-term sentence, readjusting to civilian life is so difficult, and the pressure that society puts you under. And if all you know is default, like, you know what's easier is to me go and do A, B, C, that could possibly land me in jail because the other resources are too difficult. Like, you have to disclose that you've got a criminal record, and then you don't get a job and you're not a viable applicant, and all those type of things need to be removed. I think the case by case, but they need to be removed, that you have to disclose that. But also everyone also in wider society has to feel safe. And that only comes with real supportive rehabilitation back into the world. But yeah, anyway, that's, we'll see what happens. Who else? We got Rory from New Rory and Mal podcast says that Trey Songz. How do you not feel about Trey Songz and this conversation? My question is, who is Rory, and how does he know? Obviously, he's in the industry, but is he speaking on authority? How is he speaking on authority?
He's saying that he knows multiple victims who've told him. That's what he's saying. And how I feel about Trey Songz, funnily enough, is how I felt about R. Kelly before everything became so intense and not intense, documented, should I say. I felt quite unsettled about Trey Songz for quite a while now, and I don't know why. Probably because some of the things that I've heard haven't sit right with me, and pretty similar to how I just stopped listening to R. Kelly because I thought I can't have you in my ears. I can't say that I listen to Trey Songz either, but I've never been like a massive Trey Songz fan. But I can say that I just don't listen to his music anymore. I don't know enough about what the alleged victims have said. So I can't say if I think that he's done it or not, because I don't know very much about that case, other than a lot of people have come out and said similar stuff.
I think Rory is probably in the best place to speak on it. He actually has a group. He's a manager as well as a podcaster. So he has a group called Emotional Oranges and tours around quite a lot. Apparently he's also doing his own music. But I know from watching their pod when he was with Joe Budden, Joe said something about Trey Songz years ago. And Trey Songz's team kind of threatened him, like, you can't speak about Trey Songz again. So they would always talk about him, but in a roundabout way. And it was always like, he is a bit rapey, without using those words. And this is the first time I think somebody of any, well, a male, I don't think so. There's been women that have come out and spoken about it, but there hasn't actually been a man that has co-signed that he definitely has done some shit to quite a few women. And he went on to say, like, it's probably 15 people that he knows of that have claimed that he's sexually assaulted them or raped them. And again, it's like, he still can go on shows though. He still gets interviewed, and there really does need to be way more people again speaking up about what he does, and some charges to be brought against him. Because it is like, how long are we going to have to wait? 30 years again, like R. Kelly? Does there have to be tens of women who were abused before it comes out to light that actually from the flipping 2010, this guy has been at it, like just assaulting women left, right, and center? I don't think we want this in the culture again. Like, he should be faced with some type of charges now.
Yeah, and similar to what you said, like I don't think I've heard men say it, Aunty Nana, and back to what we were saying last week about men might tell him things in private, but it needs to be said publicly.
Yeah,
because this behavior shouldn't be condemned. It shouldn't be tolerated. It should be condemned.
There's a lot of remember Keke Palmer was on the Breakfast Club, but even though she's retracted her statement, I guess, you know, things happen. But she and Trey Songz were apparently like really good friends, and then the whole him using sexual intimidation to get her to be in a music video, or he used illicit footage of her in a music video, and she said it was really intimidating. And people, I think she got berated for speaking up, and then in the end she kind of retracted her comments. People have gone back to that now. This person's come out and accused him and all that type of stuff, and these stories are resurfacing, and it's everything we keep repeating. Men do better. Stop letting, and the music industry is a cesspit, as we know. It's a dirty cesspit. Women are at the bottom rung, and they get abused, manipulated. And if we're going to talk about society, black women being at the bottom, if you want to co-sign that, then definitely in the music industry, in our music industry, black women are dime a dozen and treated like fodder to be manipulated and thrown about and used at will. So if Trey Songz is guilty, all the crime needs, all the arrests, all the thing needs to happen. I've never been a fan. He sounds like a chipmunk or a gerbil when he sings to me. I've never got it. Didn't find anything.
You have that slimy thing. Yeah. You know, like that real kind of slimy type of geezer, but also they kind of evoke like mass hysteria with young girls as well.
Yeah.
And you can tell he would probably do some shit with that. Like he would capitalize on that.
I mean, I think there's that whole thing again, as we're talking about your underage girls, that frenzy, that societal perspective that men, it's okay to go for younger girls, just don't get caught, basically. To change the narrative of that and actually think, and again, like I've said already, take ownership of what you're doing to a younger person. And also, as we've also said this before, the music industry needs to have a lot more stringent guidelines, especially for young people getting into the industry. Because Trey Songz, no matter what, got into the industry at a very young age. And then you get all this fame and adulation, and you are gaslit. You're just like, your head's boost, your everything, you got people throwing themselves at you. I can understand how you would be, you just would go nuts without the right people around you to manage that. But the managers, the agents, the PRs, and all that type of stuff tap into that wild, raw energy to fuel the beast that pays their bills. But you just let the beast get out of control. And when it comes down to this side, you then either abandon them when actually you could have stopped them from turning into this predator if this is what's happened. You could have stopped them at the beginning, whereas you let this beast grow because they needed, you know, that thing I think I spoke about before. I don't know if I think we've discussed it, or it's been a thought, where this whole thing that to be a genius, you've got to be some sort of depravate as well. So like Freud had had an alcohol problem. Other geniuses either had, you know, abuse stories that attached to them, but yet their genius outweighs the shit that they did, so people allowed them. So you got great artists, great musicians, great philosophers, but they all had some kind of shit going on mentally, or their personality deficiency, and society allowed them. And it's like, you have to have madness of genius. And I would love to explore why this is the case. Because how about controlling the madness and well, how do we do that? How do you manage someone who's genius, who has other issues? Is it a thing, or is it just society is allowing this to go? And that's now people are tapping into that by force, or is it really a thing?
I don't think it's like society allows it. I think if you're anybody's meal ticket, they are going to work with you and they are going to be party to whatever your vices are, and they're going to allow your vices and they're going to cover you.
That's society.
Well, it's not actually like society, because we're not around Trey Songz. It's who's around you, who your team are, allow this to take place. And then you also think of, within the music business, a lot of executives set the tone for the artist. So what they're doing, the artist is seeing, and then you're all going to cover each other. And then it becomes okay. I don't think I've ever heard one singer say that they haven't been hit on in a way that made them feel intimidated when they go to the studio by executives, that they haven't been accosted with some type of like pay for play with their bodies. It's so rife. So then as a male singer, and you're seeing all of this, you also feel that you have entitlement to female bodies. And his manager probably co-signs it, publicist. It's like that ecosystem is like, you feed this guy because he's paying all of us. It's like, it's hard to actually have somebody who's a part of that stand up for anything unless that's their moral fiber. But you're behind the team. So it's not really society. It's actually just within that ecosystem how it's working. And there probably are some really good guys as well, though. But if you're a shithead, you're going to find other shitheads to work with.
But my thing about geniuses, do you think all geniuses come with a side of madness?
No. I think it depends on their egos and how that's controlled and how that's managed. But I think that your ego can go off in a normal person's ego can go off in various ways. I don't think there needs to be a genius with it. We all, as humans, have dark sides, every single one of us. It's just how much you allow your dark side to reign within the constraints of what you can do. The more money you have, the more ways that you can explore your dark sides, and it can go in different ways. I think it's more on humans' power than genius. I think they're not the same. I wouldn't call him a genius either, because I think he's just an all right singer.
No, I get that. Yeah, me too. It was just that whole exploration of the bigger thing of talented people. I should even just say talented people. Okay, Thandiwe Newton.
Yeah. I mean, you called it, innit? You said that she was having some type of a breakdown.
Yeah, because the crying outburst about dark-skinned women didn't make sense back then to me. And then it was explained, but now here we are. She's been fired from the Magic Mike film for erratic behavior, and now it's been revealed that her and her husband have separated, and she's going through some stuff. And I think that's it.
I think I feel for her, but I am really wondering. It's 24 years. I wonder if the whole unraveling with the dark skinned women thing was like all a part of her marriage, kind of. Yeah, like maybe there was something with her marriage. Like I just felt, and this is just, I have no basis for this, but there was something that struck me with infidelity, going back to her rant and just thinking like, I wonder, because I didn't know it was like 24 years she had been with her husband. So like a really long time. And it's just for her talking about taking our men, and it was just like, that's all very weird. It was like a spiral around relationships seemed to have come to mind now. Like maybe that's something that she's going through with her husband. Maybe there was some type of infidelity there. But I wish her well.
I wish her well. I mean, I don't know what the trigger point is, and definitely when lockdown might have played a part. A lot of people went through self-discovery and awakening and reconnecting with who they are as a person, or disconnecting, or dismantling the facade, because when you're in a place 24/7, can't go out and distract yourself with the lights and trappings of the world, especially being a celebrity, and you're forced to face your front. Because I think definitely being in this public eye, you can get blinded by the light so easily. There's so much at you, and when you're, and I don't even, not even just a celebrity, we've got money, where money can really just pass away your troubles, cover up all your troubles with throwing money at it, whether it's opulence or fashion or just being in all these different spaces. So when you're forced to be at home and just reckon with yourself and the people in your immediate circle that you might have been locked down with, that's going to be a tough one. Yeah. So I wonder, what was the trigger? I do wish her well. I hope she comes out okay on the other side.
She's such a good actress as well. I really do enjoy watching her in things. I think she's a really good actress.
I really, she seems like such a sweetie. The times I've seen her, she's just been really just really sweet and like a cute person to be around. So I just wish her, I do likewise wish her all the well. We should move on, but let's get some comments.
Okay, so Victoria says, never seen the fuss about Trey Songz, but generally when the inner circles of bros start whispering out loud, because let's face it, they cover for each other a lot, there could be something. Was there another one? Okay. And Victoria also says there's a lot to unpack with Thandiwe. We saw the slow downward spiral, and something tells me there is more to come. I mean, hopefully she gets the help she needs. And Ronald says, question for Nana. Speaking of speaking up, how difficult was it for you to ask Kojo about his past comments about dark-skinned women? It wasn't that hard. It was kind of semi-hard because we have a relationship, and it's like I would call him a friend or somebody that I've known for a very long time, like over 20 years. I've known him, so it wasn't easy bringing it up, and that was probably felt in his response to it. It would be great to be able to have a conversation with a black man about colorism without it being very defensive. I'll say that much. But what do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I can imagine. I think similarly, having somebody on, when you get into this space, having somebody on that it is, and maybe there's, as he discussed, real talk, you have a show, we do a show where we want to entertain. We're all quite moralistic women. We're not out here doing this show just for, sensation. We could do sensationalism and ratchetness. We could do that, but that's not us. Or that's definitely not the format that I would like to put out there. However, getting into the nitty-gritty of certain conversations, we do want to break down certain taboos, certain misinformations, and we do want to get to the heart of issues that really affect us as Black women day to day. We're quite real with the topics that we pick and that we want to talk about. And yeah, as we've said many times, we want to talk to them. There's a lot of things as women that we don't understand from men, and it is good to have a conversation with a man who's willing to be open and honest about those situations. And it is, we're not in the gotcha game. We're not trying to trip people up, but we all like to broach difficult topics if a person's up for it. So I know that it's like, I don't want any guest to come on this show and feel uncomfortable. So we do, and just to understand, we prep our guests, we make sure they feel comfortable. We check in with them about what they want to speak about, what they don't want to speak about, and then we figure it out around that. So we hope that guests that come on this show never feel like we've blindsided them. And stuff like that, but we say we're aunties. We're going to go and get in your business as we say. It's there. So, that's that. I don't know how you feel, Aunty Farrah.
As I said last week, I think it was a good opportunity for him to talk about it. It's something that he probably hasn't spoken about, and I think it was an excellent way that Aunty Nana brought it up. And as I said at the time, it's documented now. Whether he feels the need for it to be out there or not, it's just good that he's managed to say his side of things, because often things can be misconstrued. And he's managed to get his own thoughts out there. And I think that, as Aunty AK said, we give all guests the opportunity to have their opinion heard, but equally we are 4 women who have our own opinions and we want to be heard too.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to come on the show, please watch back all our episodes and make a decision. If you find us too much to deal with, then don't come on the show. We're not going to shy away, but we will make you feel comfortable, as good aunties do. I think we just 100% proper aunties. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go on to the next bit? Aunty Nana, sorry, this was your story. Axel Blake got the golden buzzer on Britain's Got Talent. So?
Because he's another black comedian and he managed to get the golden buzzer from, what's his name? Simon Cowell. Simon Cowell, very similarly to like how Kojo did as well. And it's just like, this could be the start of a big thing for his career because he's got that exposure. So it's just to keep an eye out for Axel Blake because he has got the golden buzzer and he'll probably become a household name.
Okay. Well done, Axel Blake. It's just because Britain's Got Talent is so far removed from my schedule of watching TV.
I think it literally just popped up on my timeline like quite repeatedly, his clip, and people just being like, you know, well done.
Which is I watched the show, but I think it's going to be good exposure for him.
Yeah,
because he's been on the circuit for quite some time, and I think every now and again you need a little bit of a injection into other people's minds, into other areas that, you know, he's now going to be in spaces where people might not have necessarily seen him before. So I think it's good for him. Well done. And he's Grenadian. Just had to put that in.
Oh, is he? Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to what's made you sad, mad, and glad this week. What has made you sad, mad, and glad this week?
Shall I go?
Ooh. Oh, I'm at the top and the bottom. What's
yeah, you are. I don't know why you're there.
I'm going to end up.
I've got all of mine.
Okay, go on then.
Okay, all right. So sad, Christian. So Cristiano Ronaldo losing his son at birth, that like really startled me. He's had twins and his son has died. Yeah, that startled me a bit. So sad about that. I'm mad. My neighbors are just so annoying. I've got like one side a great, brilliant Romanian family. The other side, Sri Lankan family. I think it could be the mum and dad are both alcoholics. And the guy just goes on these raging benders and he'll like drink from morning till evening.
No.
And he was out just being an absolute menace. The police have come, I would say, in the years that we've been here, no less than 300 times.
Oh.
And they just don't do, like literally, it's like they speak to them and then they carry on arguing. And this time he believes that we had called the police. Well, that my husband had called the police. So he rings the door, knocks on the door, and he's like, brother, you know, I don't like you anymore. Like, can't even stand up properly. I fly, as I mentioned last week, got a temper when I'm ready to lose my temper. I fly to the door and one of my clothes rails is at the side of the door. And I was just looking at the clothes rail and I was like, if he tries to lunge for Russell, I am going to beat this man to a pulp. So I'm like at the side going, just fuck off. I literally shouted and Russell's trying to be really calm and just be like, get inside your house. No, I didn't call the police. It's probably somebody else. Like, leave us alone. His wife comes out. She starts shouting. He pushes his wife into the house. And so we're like, don't hit her, although I hate this woman as well. But, you know, when you're just like, why? We were just having a nice evening, minding our business, and you guys have brought your shit to the house. So that left me in a state of rage for quite a few hours. And I was plotting all of the ways to end their existence on this earth. But I'm calm now. But yeah, I hate my neighbors. So they made me mad. And I'm glad. So that happened on the Saturday. On the Sunday, I went to a Mind, Body and Soul exhibition in Olympia with my bestie, Jessica. And she was doing a talk on how to produce a heart-centered book. And it was really, really good. And I'm quite inspired. I may write a book one day. That was really good. And saw lots of crystals and yeah, just felt really zen and at peace. Then Bank Holiday Monday, I spent time with my other bestie, Angel, in a beer garden, drinking our lives away, just discussing life. And it was brilliant. It's a lovely time. So that's me.
Okay, I'm sad because my toes were cold today. And it really freaks me out when my toes are cold. But I'm also more seriously sad about yet another fatal shooting of a black man in America. This time it's Patrick Loyola, an immigrant from DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. He was pulled over. I don't even know why he was pulled over.
Patrick Loyola, right?
Yeah. And basically, and so he runs
the traffic.
He runs away, like following a traffic stop, and then basically the police officer, they get into a little bit of a tussle. The police officer gets him on the ground, but manages to shoot him point blank head in the, point blank to the head, shoots him dead. His parents, crying on TV as they would do, so they brought him over for a better life, but lo and behold. And again, it's just revisiting, is it ever worth it? Man had a dodgy car, whatever, if he had a busted tail light, whatever the reason was, in the end, is it worth his death? Was it? Because, again, as the political pundits come and politicize the situation, you have the right kind of aligning people saying, he's got a criminal background. Apparently he's been arrested multiple times. And the headline is, one of them includes assault on a pregnant woman. And that, again, obviously, the aunties do not condone any type of assault, but an assault on a pregnant woman, assault doesn't actually explain, and I'm not justifying anything, but it doesn't explain. Assault could be a slap. Assault could be actually a beat down. So I'm not even justifying it like that, but does it equate to, in that moment, you get shot by a policeman for running a red light or a traffic misdemeanor? It doesn't equate. If he did the thing, he should get done for the thing that he's been arrested for. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway, that made me sad and mad all in one. I'm also mad. My toilet has broken. It doesn't flush anymore. Thankfully, being, of black descent, because I know African Caribbeans are like, know this trick. We have a bucket always in the house. So
can see the action.
You know what I'm saying? We got to pour the water to flush. But my mum was laughing at me. She's in Ghana. She's like, "Oh, so you're like a real villager right now." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am a villager right now." And I'm pouring water to flush my loo. It's like, how many more things, Hammersmith and Fulham? How many more things? And I know these are things that happen because the washer's worn away. But I called them as an emergency call on Thursday. They came out and said, "Oh, the washer's gone." They're not coming till Friday.
Yeah, because it's not an emergency. I've had this before. Yeah, I had this over a Christmas period once.
So imagine, and the thing is, imagine if I did, because no one gave me because like, and I was all part of me wanted, because pride in my kingdom, in my little castle. I don't want him to come and see a nonsense in the toilet. I would hate for that. It'd make me cringe and die. So I know I have a solution. So I was like, I want to get you lot, but it's not the plumber's fault. It's the council and the shitty products that they use. So I made sure everything was cleared so that he could have a peaceful checkout of what's going on. Anyway, they're not coming till Friday. And you know what they've done for the past 3 occasions? Not turned up for appointments. They came today to fix the radiator finally. That's after 3 times not turning up. 3 times. So if they don't turn up on Friday to fix my busted toilet, I'm going to go to war on everybody. I'm glad because I had a lovely weekend, like a lovely Friday with my aunt. We had a nice day out. And then also my daughter is turning 22 this week. We've got a little birthday soiree planned on Friday. And so I'm just glad of my little peach nut. She's amazing. I love her to bits. And she's 22 on Friday. That's it. Auntie Farrah.
What was it again? Mad, sad, glad. Sad, mad, glad.
Mad and glad.
I'm also sad. I'm also sad at the execution, because let's call it what it was, of Patrick Loyola, I think it is, because I don't actually care what he's done. If you weren't there to arrest him for that crime, then and you didn't find him killing someone, then not deserved. So I don't actually care. You stopped him at a traffic. It was a traffic stop. You had him on the ground. You took your gun out and shot him in the back of his head. That's an execution. Just call it what it was. That made me very sad. My mad's gone off on my phone. Bloody hell. But I have got one. But this isn't the one I wanted to talk about. But I'll say this. I was mad at all the people that were getting really happy at the idea of Rihanna and ASAP Rocky breaking up.
Oh God, we've got to talk about that
nonsense. Yeah, like because someone was told some false news and he put it out on Twitter, and then it spread like wildfire that ASAP has been cheating on Rihanna with her shoe designer for Fenty, and it was just like turned out to be nonsense, and that just made me mad. Like, the woman's pregnant, like leave her alone, shouldn't need this nonsense. And I have two glads. My first glad was yesterday when I arrived home. My neighbor called me. My neighbor, she's a chef and she sells food, and she actually had cooked for everybody in the whole block. And like she's Ghanaian, so she made like jollof rice and macaroni.
That's the neighbor you want.
Okay, I forgot who was in the room. It's not that you two gave me shit. My neighbor did.
Wait.
Did you give me anything this week?
As a Ghanaian, not this week, but as a Ghanaian, have I not cooked for you?
Have I not cooked for you as a Grenadian?
When did you cook for me?
Have I never cooked? Don't try it, you stupid cow.
This was supposed to be a happy moment. Can we go through the glass?
I'm trying to say. I want to big up my neighbour because on Easter Monday, she cooked for the whole community. And so I'm not talking about no little portions of food. Like, you know, like the butter tubs that your gran used to get, the big square ones. That's what she gave me of jollof rice and the baddest macaroni. And I'm funny about macaroni cheese, but this lady's macaroni and cheese is up there.
Wow.
So I really appreciate her for what she did for everybody. And I just think that was unexpected and lovely. I walk past her house all the time, and me and Egypt always like, she's cooking fish. What's she cooking today? Let's go with that. And then I got to eat it. So I was very happy.
Oh, nice.
Yes, very nice. And then my second glad was it was my cousin, my little cousin. It was my little cousin Leon's birthday. I say little cousin, he was 40, but it was his birthday last week, and he had an amazing time. And I planned with his missus a birthday party for him. And it was just a really, really nice time. Lots of people showed up and showed out, and it was great. And he had a great time, and he got very drunk, and he did his signature move where he takes his shirt off and swings it around in the air. And I was embarrassed and tried to get him to put it back on, and he didn't want to listen to me. But it's fine. He had a good time. So happy birthday and big up to my lovely cousin Leon. Love you lots.
Big up Leon. That party was great.
Little bitch.
Big up, my honorary big sister Shalon went to her 50th. And then went to Leon's, and both parties were worthy of two beautiful people. Wonderful, wonderful. Just to go back to that ASAP Rocky nonsense. Fashion writer Louis Pisano apologizes for spreading reckless Rihanna and ASAP Rocky rumors. He came and did an Instagram apology saying, you know, I made a dumb decision to tweet some information I'd received. I'm not going to talk about sources, blame others for a discussion that was started, because at the end of the day, I made the decision to draft that tweet, press send, and put that out with my name on it. So, you know, he basically owned it, but, you know, nonsense.
You know what I find really disgusting about that? So even if you had been given this information, like you knew that this was going on, why would you, when somebody's in their third trimester,
right,
have the world speculating about their relationship when she's so heavily pregnant? Like, you know, there's like a level of contempt that I have for people that don't really understand how dangerous pregnancies are. And for the sake of getting tweets, because you're not going to make any money off of this, like physically, this is like just tweets and exposure, you would risk somebody's health, and then it's not even true. I feel like criminal charges should be able to be placed at people.
Well, it's defamation, isn't it? If Rihanna wanted to go ahead, it's defamation. That's 100% defamation.
Well, it's ASAP Rocky because it was ASAP.
ASAP.
And the designer.
And the designer
named her.
Yeah. He then had to come out and say something because she was, I thought that this was going to pass, but it seems like it's not. So she had to come out and say that these are two people I love and respect.
And the viral tweet, the way where like people were just like speculating, like, oh my God, ASAP's a, you know, they literally ran with it, making deep comments.
With a real zealous kind of like, oh my God, how could he do that? Why would he, like, just, and it's like there was a part of people that's kind of sad, but there was something like exciting about it. It's just like,
yeah. Some people revel in other people's, you know, unfortunate circumstances, don't they?
Yeah.
All right. So this is my don't piss me off today. this is my don't piss me off. And my don't piss me off is, guys, okay, look. I know there's slang words, right? I know I can be a bit of a word policeman, but I just think we as a people, if we're going to let our slang words be co-opted and rewritten and introduced into the language, let's get them down properly. Pussyhole is not a word. Pussyhole is the word. However, people are starting to write pussyo. It is not pussyhole. You little children who are not from our generation, and I'm very sorry, it's a very explicit word as well. I understand that. However, it is not pussyo. It is pussy hole, which has been run together to say pussy-hole. If you're from the Caribbean, I don't know which original. I know Jamaicans. When I grew up, I was around Jamaicans. So I knew that's where it came from. I don't know if it's initially initiated or originated in Jamaica. However, it's a Caribbean slanguistical term. And it's pussy-hole, run together, pussy-hole, regarding the vagina hole. It is not pussy-o. It is not P-U-S-S-I-O. P-U-S-S-Y apostrophe O-L-E. That's how it should be written down. Second one, wagwan. Wag number one. No. It should be, well, first of all, the original, what a guan. What is going on? Again, from Mike growing up.
Is that what it means? Wagwan.
It means, yes.
I don't know what that means.
What, wag
like,
one?
call me an auntie. I was like, what's wagwan?
Yeah, they're supposed to be saying
I
wagwan.
thought, what is it like? You know, like wags back in the day. Is it the number one wag?
This is what I'm saying. It is not wag one. No one says wag one. No one says it like that. We say wagwan. It is actually wa, what, a guan. Wa, guan. So W-H-A apostrophe guan. G-W, you can add multiple A's if you like. You want to long it out. Wagwan or wagwan. It is not wag one. Fuck off with that, please. We are introducing language into the dialect of the world. People are adopting our linguistics and our words. Please have them written properly. Don't be stupid. And this is not us. It's the young people that don't know the history properly. Thank you.
Thanks.
I like pussy-o.
Pussy-o. No, it annoys me.
It's dumb.
Just make up new words if you're going to do that. Like, I think like young people are kind of lazy with this. Yeah,
They are.
have slang, and they seem to just want to reuse our slang. Like, make up new words. Like
They reuse it and then have different meanings for
no,
it. I'm like,
it's not
that's
okay.
not what that means.
Make
And
up
the thing
a whole
is-
new word, and then you can apply your own meaning. Like when we came up with butters.
Yeah.
Like, don't just start using butters. Like, have a new word. Say pakuni or something, and everybody says pakuni, and that means that you're ugly. Like, change it all up. Be inventive. Be original.
Exactly. And the thing is, for me, even though it's absolutely annoying taking a slang word that we use, so we take beef and it either means fighting or it means, back in the day, it also meant you're a beef, you're a good looking guy. We used to call them beefs and stuff like that. So we understand sometimes words mean, but the actual thing, pussy-o, is a thing. It's actual. You can't turn it into pussy-o. What is pussy-o? And also, because our language has been co-opted by other cultures. Remember there was that conversation, I can't remember, when someone on Twitter, and it was just Twitter, so I'm not taking it for the world as gospel, but people are actually trying to say that certain slang words that are from our community originated from white people. So this is why I'm saying, even though I'm saying it in jest, it's also, don't try it, fam, because next minute you're going to say pussy-o came from someone in Manchester. Don't try it.
It's French.
It's culture.
No,
It's like pussy-o and wagwan. It came from the word wagon. No, it didn't. It's not, and it's erasing.
The farmers would say wagwan.
It's a wagon. Yeah, exactly.
We're passing each other.
Exactly. Wagwan. Look at your wagwan. No, wagwan. And it's erasing our cultural identity as well. It's like those little bits. Because next minute, chale. No, you're not taking chale. You're not taking oyimbo. You're not taking our words. You're not taking our words and destroying them. So just stop it. Thank you.
Thanks. It's true.
And on that note, if you would like to go and research, have a look at the website called Know Your Caribbean History. And it talks about the Caribbean links to words to the African community as well, and how we all use the same words and how our history traveled across the ocean and was kept alive in Black people. If you just want to go and have a look there.
I love their page.
Great page.
Love it. Their page
amazing, isn't it?
Brilliant. Go onto IG. If you're not going to go into their website, go onto IG.
Yeah, go onto IG.
Put it in and scroll. It's the best. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
All of the words, and literally all over Africa, Sierra Leone, Ghana, all over. It's brilliant.
It's across the whole Caribbean. It's amazing. Like I've long said, lots of things are the same, and they really are. They break it down how much it is the same.
Exactly. It's like when people were criticizing some of the words in Afrobeats, saying we're stealing it from reggae. No, because our languages are the same, and there's cross-cultural pollination. However, that's within us, and we can discuss it and learn it. When you're taking it outside, don't remix it.
Yeah.
Not allowed.
But I think for all of us, though, it's really important that we actually see how we are so connected. Like going to Jamaica, seeing houses that are literally is exactly the same as in Ghana.
Exactly.
Or, you know, like the barbershop signs as well.
Yes.
The barbershop images are exactly. It's like we do.
It's the same. The buses. Like when you were in Ghana and you showed certain pictures, I was like, that's Grenada.
Exactly.
It's the same. It's the same. And that's why we can travel amongst ourselves and feel comfortable and feel at home, because it's the same.
Exactly.
Yes. You
can't. What it's not.
It doesn't matter where you
not to admire us Black people, you know, we're resilient.
Listen.
Think about the shit that we went through, and it's the same.
And that's why we don't throw away our words and remix them stupidly. Pussyo and wagwan. Delete it. I'm going to be on a mission. Every time I see it, I'm going to tell you people. So just be, Auntie is on the rampage.
Are you going to be in the comments?
You all. Everywhere I see it.
It's in the comments and tell people, like, no, don't do this.
I'm going to. It's listen, if only Instagram let you have links, the way I'd link up the place. Bro, I'm so mad. Okay. Have you got any more comments before we move on?
Okay. All right. So, Bare Numbers Strikes Back says, if a woman is good looking, she is good looking. Skin tone don't matter.
Wait. You're funny.
Bare Numbers.
she said, bare numbers. People, it's not his tagline or her tagline is not bare numbers. Auntie Nana just can't bother to say them.
No, there's only 4 numbers at that.
Numbers.
You could have said 1204. You could have literally.
All I saw was bare numbers, man. But anyway, that's what he says. And then Nicholas says, Auntie Nana, make a tea. You know, I may actually do that, you know. Pussy-o is not pussy-o. I may do that. I may do that for you for next week, and you can wear it.
I think I'm going to do that, seeing as pussy-o is a Caribbean word. Just saying.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to do it, Auntie Nana, you do it.
Nia Darte says, wagwan pussy-o. Cheers.
So hold on 1 minute. Nia Darte is calling us pussy-os, by the way.
And Mr. Frank says it's the best. I think that's in regards to the your Caribbean history. Yeah, it is the best. And Ronald says this was another really good show. Thank you.
Thank you. Even though you told me I needed auto-tune, Ronald, I'll accept your. That was an apology in an indirect way, wasn't it? Okay, and on that note, you were listening and watching Your Aunties Could Never. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're on all social media platforms. You can watch this episode back and past episodes on Facebook and YouTube. And of course, like I said, we're on all popular listening platforms. And as I said at the top of the show, can you not forget to write your reviews, your celebratory comments, and your all-round praise and glorification of the aunties. Please make sure you do that. And that's it. Join us next Tuesday.
Okay. Share.
And share. I feel like
we grow.
Don't just go without saying. Share. Tell your people that you've got these people that give you so much great advice. And
as Biggie said, tell your friends to tell their friends that we can be friends.
Please.
Exactly.
Please.
We can be your aunties, a great aunties. You know, you get to hear about privatizing the moon. Do you even have those conversations anywhere? Do you? You get a history lesson and an English lesson. Do you get that anywhere? No. So make sure you come back here and tell people about the thing where you learn stuff. You get me? And our Patreon. Thank you, Auntie Nicola. We have a Patreon. Can you just donate? drop your subscription immediately, because like I want you to see me sitting here in furs for no reason, right? obviously not what the Patreon is going to go to. It's going to us maintaining the show and be able to come back every week because it's hard at work and we love to be here for you. So do that. Sign up.
Please,
okay.
Please, and you want us to level up our production. So
yeah, we need to get out of these boxes. We're trapped in these boxes, like Colonel Abrahams. Can you see we're so trapped and we don't know?
We want to be together. Help us get there. So always be together.
Break us out.
Good mics, great sound. Like really, be a part of our journey. Invest in us because you know we're giving you great knowledge. And
unashamedly so. We
don't entertainment. We're entertaining you, so let's do it in the best way possible. And you can be a part of our journey. You really, you really can sit there. When we're millionaires, you can be like, you know what? I was watching them when it was just me listening. You can have that story. Would you not want that story when we're like going out to millions? I would want that story if I was watching.
Okay, so yeah, join us next Tuesday live at 8. We are moving to 8 o'clock because it's a bit of a better time. Okay, Ronald, I'll allow you to enhance my lovely voice. Okay. And
Nicola also said she's going to sign up next week on Patreon.
You said this week, girl. Why are you adding in remixing?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was adding in extras this week.
But yes, join us next week. We'll be back. Bye.
Bye.